Welcome to the Beast of the Middle East's podcast. I'm your host Kamal Aldin, and today I have a very interesting story for you guys. An eventful, crazy story that has crazy old ladies, police, and hours of biking. So a little bit of background before I get into it. When I came to Canada, I immigrated to Canada in 2009 from Kuwait, and I was 6 years old. When I started school, I couldn't speak English. So that created a problem for me, kind of creating friends, because nobody knew how to speak Arabic, and I couldn't speak English at the time. But I learned relatively quickly, and I started making some new friends. At around grade 2, I met this tall ginger kid. Let's call him Morgan. Now, Morgan and I, in those early years, we weren't super close, but we were kind of acquainted. But once grade 3 came around, he and I became best friends and we did everything together. Every single break, we'd go to the playground, we'd play grounders, hide and seek, we'd climb trees together, and it was amazing. But where our interactions really shined were in the summer. Every day, he and I would go over to each other's houses, watch YouTube videos, and just hang out. But we had the most fun when we'd bike. When we went biking, it wasn't just biking around the neighborhood. No, we wanted to explore. We wanted to have an adventure. And a typical day in the summer would involve me leaving my house around like 12 in the afternoon, getting on my bike, meeting up with Morgan, and then coming home around like 6:30 or 7. We stayed for hours and hours. Now, we also played some practical jokes and we got up to some mischief, but not too much. So in grade 4, we would play a game occasionally called Nicky Nine Doors, or Ding Dong Ditch, as it's called. So we'd knock on a door, we'd run away, and then we'd hide out and watch the reaction. This gave us a kick every time, but it was very scary, especially when the tenant and the owner of the house would go out in the street looking for us. That was scary. But anyway, in grade 5, he and I were hanging out at our old school, and we were bored. We didn't know what to do. So then I came up with the idea, hey, why don't we play Nicky Nine Doors again? I said, good idea. Which house? Now, our school had this hill, and above the hill was this residential street with a bunch of houses lined up together. So I picked out a random house along that street, and I said, why don't we hit that one? Anyway, so we parked our bikes all the way across the field, and I don't know why, maybe to keep them out of sight or something. I don't know, but we crossed the field and we knocked on the house and then ran, and then we hid upon this hill, because it was big enough for us. Because we were 10 or 11 years old. We were kind of small. Anyway, we waited and waited until we heard the door open. Click click. Now this old woman came out and she said, "Hello, is there anybody there? Hello?" She knew that somebody was playing Ding Dong Ditch. So then she came out in the street and said, "Ha ha, very funny. Now show yourself." I looked at Morgan. He was like, quiet. And she then came out onto the street. She came out on the hill and looked at us. She saw us. So then I looked up and I made eye contact with her, and she said, "I got you now." And to us, we were grade 11. We thought she was gonna like, I don't know, call the police or something like that. That we were scared. So we said, "Oh crap, she caught us. Let's go." So we get up and we sprint across the field. We get on our bikes and we pedal and pedal and pedal until we think we lost her. We said, "Oh, that's close." Now anyway, what do we do now? So at this time, he and I had a lot of adrenaline pumping through our bodies, and we were feeling like we were invincible. He said, "You know what? I think I want to go exploring today. I want to go further than we've ever gone before." I said, "Wait, what? Really?" He said, "Yeah, I know a place. Just follow me." So then we start biking for a long, long time. I think we were biking for an what felt like an hour and a half. Anyway, we had to climb a bunch of stairs, and then I heard cars and cars. So then he showed me the overpass across the highway. Now this was leaving our area, going into another one. I said, I don't know, bro. We haven't gone this far before. He said, I know, but it's scary, but it's cool. Let's come on, let's go. I said, fine, let's go. So then we cross the overpass, and once we get to the other side, we bike a little bit, and we're in this new, completely unfamiliar area. It was a rough place, with a bunch of dusty, disheveled-looking apartment complexes. I said, "Yo, Morgan, I don't know where this is. How are we gonna get back?" He said, "Oh, don't worry. We'll figure it out. We'll just go with it." If anybody says we'll go with it, never ever follow them, because they have no idea what they're saying. We were like 10 or 11 years old, and we were in this unfamiliar area to us. So anyway, we keep biking, and once we see some shady characters, we kind of get spooked. I said, "Yo, Morgan, I'm kind of spooked. Yo, can we go home?" He said, "Yeah, let's go home." And I said, "Which way?" He said, I don't know." So then we try to retrace our steps, but we find out that going backwards, it looks nothing like where we came from originally. We must have taken a wrong turn somewhere. Anyway, by this point, Morgan's kind of freaking out. He said, "Bro, I don't know what to do. How are we supposed to get back?" I said, "You know what? You know what? Let's just ask for directions." He said, "Okay, but I'm a little scared." I said, "Fine." So I go up to this woman and I ask, "Hey, my friend and I are a little lost. Do you think you can tell us how to get back to the place we live, to the area we live in?" He said, "Okay. So you go down the street, you take a left, you take a right, and take another left, and then you go down the hill." I said, "Okay. Um, thank you." So I turn around and I go back to Morgan. I said, "Okay, so this woman said, take this street down, take a right, take a left, take another left, then go down the hill." I don't know if you guys noticed, but those are the completely wrong directions from what she said. But I was adamant and I was so sure that's what she said that we just rolled with it. So we go down the street, we take the right, we take the left, we take the other left. But there's no hill. I turn around and say, "Yo, Morgan, she said there was supposed to be a hill. Where is it?" He said, "I don't know, bro. How are we actually gonna get home?" I said, "Why don't I ask again?" So I go up to this guy and I say, "Okay, is there any way we can get back to the area we live in?" He said, "Okay, yeah. So you take this street, you take the left, you take the right, go straight for 2 blocks and take another left, and then you should see the overpass." I said, "The overpass? Okay." This time I was sure about the directions because I made him repeat it again. So anyway, we go through the streets, we go down the 2 blocks, we take the left, and then there's the overpass. I said, "Yo, Morgan, that's the overpass. This now we can get home." He said, "Yes." So we get across the overpass, and now we were on to the other side. I said, "Finally, we made it." Whew. Okay, he said, I think I should probably go to my mom's house. Yeah, I need to get home, but I need to drop my bike off first. So anyway, we bike up until we get to his dad's house to drop off his bike so he can go to his mom's house. And when we pull up to the driveway, the old woman pulled up with her car. I don't know how she found us. I don't know if she was tracking us, if she was following us, but she was standing right there. She got out of her car and she walked across the driveway. She had this grin on her face because Morgan's dad was there. She was probably thinking, "I got these kids now." So anyway, she said, "Excuse me, do you know what these boys did?" Morgan's dad was like, "What did they do?" Looking at us suspiciously. "They got up to some mischief. They knocked on my door and then they ran and hid. And when I tried to talk to them, they got on their bikes and then they fled." He said, "Oh, it's just harmless fun." She said, "No, that's not harmless fun. Last time somebody did that to me was at 10 o'clock, and I said from this day on, anybody plays Ding Dong Ditch on my door again, and I'm gonna call the cops. She did what? She called the cops? My thoughts were racing. I was thinking, am I gonna get arrested? Am I gonna go to jail? Am I gonna not have a good future? What's gonna happen to me? Yeah. I was super super scared. She said yes. I called the police and I told them to keep a lookout for two kids on their bikes. But thank God Morgan's dad he protected us. He said I don't think it should come to that. I know it's not that serious. Um, I'm sorry. I apologize if there was any disturbance that was caused, and I'll tell them that not to do it again. She said, no, I can tell them myself. She came up to us and said, I'm an old woman. I live alone. When these things happen, I get scared. It's not good for you to do it. So then Morgan and I were nodding along and saying, yes, we won't do it again, we promise. I said, good. Now, remember what I said and never, ever do this again. We said, okay. She turned around, got in her car. And Morgan-san was like, what the hell? I don't think the situation was that serious to call the police. But anyway, you boys take extra good care of yourselves getting home, okay? We said, fine. So I get on my bike and I pedal. My little legs pedaled like they've never pedaled before. And I think I saw two squad cars. Well, one was across the street, but one was coming right at me. So then I freaked out, and then I dipped into this driveway and rode past this backyard. I was on some next level Jason Bourne identity. I thought I was a spy. I thought I was a fugitive. I thought they were looking for me. But it was nerve wracking, but it was so exciting. Anyway, eventually I get home and I'm like, good, I made it. My parents are like, where have you been? It's pretty late. Shouldn't have you come home like 30 or 45 minutes ago? I said, yeah, Morgan and I lost track of time. He said, okay. So anyway, I go to sleep. The next day, I call up Morgan. I said, hey, you want to hang out? He said, sure. So anyway, we bike to the community center, and when I pull up, I tell him about my adventure. I said, "Yo, when I was biking home, this squad car was coming at me. And then I dipped into this driveway, and I was jumping fences, and it was crazy." He said, "I know. When I was coming home, there were like three squad cars, and I think I jumped a fence. I hid behind this house, and it was just super scary." We had a good laugh, and then we continued our day. That was probably the highlight of the summer. And you better believe we never, ever played Nicky Nine Doors ever again. We were model kids. We just, we went to the playground, we had some fun, we biked, but we never played practical jokes or got up into any mischief again. Because whenever the thought would even pop into my head, I was always think of the squad cars and the crazy old lady, and it was just it made me shudder. But I'm really thankful for my childhood. I had so much fun, and just a lot of good memories thinking back over the years, and I'm really glad everything happened. Now, this was just one of the crazy stories that happened in my childhood. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope it was entertaining for you. It was honestly scary at the time, but looking back at it, it's whenever I mention this story to my parents, to my brother, we always get a good laugh out of it. But this has been the Beast of the Middle East's podcast. I'm your host, Kamal Aldeen, and I hope you had a good time, and I will see you all next time. Thank you.